And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, welcome to the show, everyone. It is the Weighing In Podcast with my man, Josh Thompson, ready to just enlighten you with his knowledge of everything that happened. And I'm here just to sit here and listen to him. That's all I'm going to do. What's up, my man?
Not much, buddy. How are things? How was the trip to Sioux Falls? How was things?
Sioux Falls was Sioux Falls. It was a good place. The fights just did not deliver. You know, too many people too afraid of losing and not putting everything out in their performance, in my opinion. But we'll talk about that stuff.
And the UFC, man, had some issues with their app, man. I was struggling with them. I posted it on Twitter. I talked about it, and I was like,
my ESPN shut off.
Yeah, same thing, man. So we're going to talk about the fights that we were able to see. I only got to see a couple of the fights and going to be very upfront and honest with you. So I couldn't get the other ones to load. The rewatch on them also wasn't working. It shut off right before the main event. The main card started. And some of the prelims too, it was real glitchy. So just got to be upfront with you guys. And I thought it was just me. So I posted it on Twitter and everyone was like, nope, mine shut off. Nope, mine shut off. Nope, I can't rewatch it. Nope.
Which means that you cannot just blame my internet.
No, I cannot. So, because, that Tennessee internet is garbage. No, you had problems with your internet because you had what, a mole or
oh yeah.
Something.
Mole or gopher eat my line.
Something in your stuff. But it's all better now. Now you look beautiful again, not all pixelated and choppy.
No, doing good, baby.
Looking great.
Just smacking it down.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. We got Bellator on Friday night. We got UFC on Saturday, and then there was a little bit of boxing. I didn't get a chance to watch that because I was dealing with trying to rewatch the UFC. So I don't know if you watched any of that boxing. But,
I did.
Okay, you can maybe run us through with that, but yeah, sorry guys. So we're gonna give you the best we can on what we were able to see, and go from there. But you want to start with Bellator? Or you want to start with the UFC there, John?
Oh well, the UFC's up. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and start with the UFC. So you have Vicente Luque. Go ahead.
Yeah, Vicente Luque against RDA. Everyone's looking forward to this, figuring, you know what, RDA can throw his hands. Vicente Luque, he throws his hands hard. You knew that RDA was going to go after some wrestling because that's, especially in the 170-pound division, it's very difficult for him to, as far as just the physical size comparisons, he's just a little bit smaller. Yes, they weigh the same, but it's the same as saying like Islam Makhachev against, Volkanovski. They're weighing the same, but Islam's just a bigger frame. And that's what you're seeing with Luque against RDA. And I was really impressed with Luque's decision, game plan, whatever it was, who came up with it. I don't know if it was Greg Jones or who, but they really went after wrestling with RDA and taking him down, because RDA was a guy that he was trying to force it to the cage. He did that a lot. He held that position, quite often throughout the fight. It wasn't the exciting fight that, you wanted to see, but it was a systematic performance by Vicente Luque in the fact that he kept going back to what was making him successful. He just round after round, he kept taking away from RDA, not by a lot, but just a little bit. And to the point where, even RDA's corner at the end was saying, hey, you got to knock him out. They knew. I was surprised that the judges had it at, one had it at 49-46. That's what I had it at. Two had it. They gave another round to RDA at 48-47. But I thought it was pretty evident and clear that, Vicente Luque, he deserved the win. He got the win. And, he got himself back from everything that he had to go through, off of the last fight and all of the requirements that were made of him and stuff. And he's back. He took some good shots. You could see that he would take a step back and it was like, I'm okay. And then he'd come back into that confrontation and stuff. But it was really a very smart, I'm not saying it was the most exciting. It wasn't, but it was a smart performance by Vicente Luque to get that win.
Yeah, it's not always about coming out and being a gunslinger. It's sometimes about just coming out and fight using your fight IQ. And that's what you have your coaches for, is to kind of lead you in the right direction. Look, let's not just go out there and be what we've been for the last, however many fights, 30 fights that he's had. Let's try and make some adjustments as we are getting older. Let's make these adjustments and start fighting smarter. Let's not be a gunslinger. Let's get some takedowns. Let's pressure against the fence. Let's slow the pace of the fight down. Let's put ourselves in a phone booth so less likely to get hit with big shots, and then use our body frame against RDA. Use our body frame to hang on him, to wear on him, get him down to the ground, and then make him control us, try to move us, try to elevator sweep us, try to get up to his feet. All of those things. And it sounds like him and his coaches came up with a good game plan. And, and we're able to dominate the positions and get the win. Those aren't going to always be fun fights. I mean, look,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about some fights tonight. You're going to pull your hair out. You're going, what are you doing? But it comes down to finally eventually getting the win and him getting back on track. I think he had lost 2 in a row. So him getting the win, he starts building that confidence. Okay, I can take a shot after all of his medical issues. And then also too, okay, this is working for me. Okay, I can start using this when I need to now, against other fighters. So good for him, man, though, getting the win, getting back on track, realizing that his medical issues can be put behind him a little bit, hopefully, and continue to keep training, continue to keep getting better, and get a win. That's a big win, because I would have thought we did talk about it last week. I thought the other way around. I thought RDA was going to be able to take him down. I thought RDA was going to be able to stand with him and use his speed to hit him with some big shots. So...
Yeah,
I thought that the speed was going to be a big factor in how RDA would control the tempo on the feet. Who was the faster fighter there, John?
Luque.
No, really? Okay.
I'm not going to say. I'm going to be honest. They're the same. The speed was basically. I didn't think there was an advantage either way. Honestly, I thought they matched up speed wise, but RDA was definitely not the faster fighter.
Got it. Very, very similar. All right, next fight.
Yeah. But hey, real question. Let me ask you this: RDA's, it's obvious that his weight cutting down to 155 is just not there anymore. He's too big. The age is caught up to where it's too difficult, and he's fighting at 170. But he's not going to be fighting for a title. How long do you think he should fight? He's at 32-15 now. He's a great fighter. Mm-hmm. He's had a great career, but now you can tell he's not going to be fighting for titles. He's fighting for what? Money?
Yeah, okay. Money. And the other thing too is that John, like in this fight, did he take a lot of damage? He's kind of held down, kind of pressed to the fence.
Not really. No.
I mean, there's going to come a fight though where he takes a lot of damage, where he gets knocked out. That's going to happen. And when that does happen, he may just decide to hang it up. But I think until that happens, I think he'll just keep fighting. And if you look at what the pay scale is, maybe. I mean, he's probably making 250, 300, a fight. I'd say anywhere between the 250. Yeah, 250 to 300. Former champion, fight anybody, that kind of thing. He prefers to fight more stand-up guys so he could take them down.
He just moved by Podcast Dave.
Oh,
because, he had moved. He was living in Costa Mesa, California with his family for years.
Yeah.
Moved back to Brazil. Now he moved to Austin, Texas.
Jeez.
So hopefully we can get in touch with RDA and have him go slap the sass right out of Podcast Dave. Yeah.
We could use a little extra backhand. That's perfect.
Woo! Yeah, put a little spit on it.
All right, next fight.
All right, we have Cub Swanson taking on Hakeem Dawodu. Ah, man. This was a welcome, good competition. I like the way that, Cub fights. I like Cub. Mm-hmm. Dawodu came out and fought, in my opinion, a smart fight against Cub. He kept it mostly on the feet. He used his range every time Cub would make, an advancement to come in, and because Cub covers space pretty well. He does that jump in. He did a good job of making him pay many times for doing it. I don't agree with the judge's decision on it, though. I had it for Dawodu. I thought Dawodu won 29-28, but the judges, all three, gave it to Cub Swanson, so they saw something that I didn't. And I'm not saying they were wrong. It's one of those. It's a close fight, but even Cub thought he lost. You knew that.
Yeah, when you see fighters after and they're getting ready to announce the decision, and they already kind of shake their head, have their head down a little bit, and they're clapping for the other guy and all those other things, right? Those type of things show you that they didn't think they won. So, I mean, those are things that fighters just automatically kind of figure in their mind, like, man, I lost that fight. And
you lost. You know how many times you were hit compared to what you were being able to put on your opponent in those engagements, and after a while, it adds up. It's like, fuck.
Yeah,
I didn't get there. I thought Cub fought well at times. I thought, he's getting older too.
Yeah.
But the speed did started to leave, in near the end of the fight. He went to grappling. I thought that was smart. He tried to, take the fight down, but he wasn't able to do really anything with it at all. I just overall, nice to see him get the win. I always love watching Cub fight, but I feel bad for Dawodu because I thought, he actually performed really well against a veteran fighter, a big name, probably the biggest name he's ever fought. And he put on a good performance. He took some shots, no doubt about it, but so did Cub. Cub was bleeding out of the nose. I think he broke his nose in the first round, and Cub was bleeding out of his nose for the rest of the fight and wouldn't stop. So they both got their licks in, but close fight. I kind of thought that Dawodu won.
Who took some big shots though was Chris Dawkins.
Now you want to talk about quality of performance? Khalil Roundtree. Let's say that Khalil Roundtree is one of the nicest freaking guys you'll ever meet. He is just a sweetheart of a guy, and he's just classy in everything he does, man. And he is chiseled, man. If you ever see a picture, I don't know. Have you ever seen Khalil before he started training?
Yeah.
I mean, he was huge.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. You look at him now, he's a Greek god, man. Mm-hmm. It's like, damn, dude. Right? And now the confidence of him in the cage is so apparent that he's not, I think he realized that Dawkins would try to take him down and utilize, some grappling, because that's the Dawkins brothers were both good in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And takedowns never even came close. Mm-hmm. And anytime they got into a clinch situation, it was Khalil was the one that was creating the problem. He used his head so well against Dawkins in that first round when they had that engagement. He got against Finn. Dawkins' chin is off to the side, and you can see, man. And I know. I go, that's uncomfortable, man.
Yeah,
and he's trying to figure his way through it. But when Khalil decided to go, I think he had, like, in my opinion, three times that he really threw hard, and the last one being the one that just obliterated Dawkins. That was a hard freaking shot. Hit him straight down the pipe. Dawkins goes down. I thought, you could have been even stopped when he went down, because he went down his back and he turned, and Herb let it go, and Roundtree came in, missed the first one. He hit it with the second one, and Herb stopped it. But big win for Khalil Roundtree. Chris Dawkins, man, he's realizing, dude, those dudes hit light heavyweight. They're fast.
Yeah, Khalil's got power, man. I mean, like, I've seen him in some of his past fights, and he throws some clean shots. Got big power. He's not afraid to take a shot, and he presses forward too. I mean, he's just an explosive fighter. For Dawkins, him and his brother both have been dealing with some losses, and the way that they've lost has made me wonder if they, not just their confidence is shot, but if they even believe in themselves in terms of their chin, and any type of big shots, they're going down. And so both of them, from the heavyweight division down to the light heavyweight, or for Chris anyways,
middleweight,
from middleweight, yeah, all these things, these guys, they're fast, they hit hard, everyone's explosive now. So they're going to have to be cautious and careful, maybe revamp their game if they're going to stick around. But I felt like this was one of those cards that was like kind of like a cleaning house card. Like, if you didn't have a good performance, odds are they're letting you go.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Dawkins ends up being let go. Now, the Lucindo and the Viana fight, the Polyana Viana fight, I think both of them are still really good. Both of them have a lot of talent.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're letting either one go. I mean, obviously Lucindo won, so they're not doing that. But Polyana Viana, I think she offers. She still has a lot of talent. Still young, and they can still help. Try to help build her. But the AJ Dotson fight and the Nchikwu fight, what did you think?
Horrible.
John, do they let both of them go because it was so bad? Did they let both of them go because it was so bad?
I'm going to be flat out honest. Bellator had this type of fight multiple times in Sioux Falls, and it's one of those. It's like, guys, you've got to figure out, man. You can't have all this energy afterwards. You can't sit there and stare across at your opponent and, give feints, and then take it to the ground, and a lot of taking it to the ground. And Josh, ground and pound is an art. It is not what people on the outside that have never, fought, never done it. Yeah. They have no concept of how technical it is to land shots on someone off their back that knows how to defend themselves, knows how to get themselves back up, to be able to keep the position. It's not easy. And there's an art to it, and some guys are really good at it, and some guys are not. And, man, I'll tell you what, this is a demonstration of guys that you go, man, you need to work at that. Mm-hmm. You really need to, make that a strong suit, something that when you get to that position, you can inflict damage. You can keep that person there, inflict damage, and make the fight easier for you going down the road. I just looked at this fight, and I think AJ Dobson's a really talented guy. He won. Yes, he won. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say he didn't. I would have given him if I was judging it too, but it was just boring. Mm-hmm. Boring.
Frem versus Pickett.
I didn't see it. I'm going to be honest. That was when my ESPN shut off, and I was working at trying to figure out how I could switch to a different thing. I did get that done, but it was I saw the last bit. It was a decision, so I didn't get to really see the fight. So I can't even comment.
How were you able to eventually watch them?
I switched from my normal thing that I buy ESPN from. I get Hulu also, so I switched to a Hulu app that someone else on my property that I live, it's their thing, and I went to their thing, grabbed their thing, and opened it up, and it worked. So I cheated.
Nah, it's not cheating. It's being smart. Huh, interesting. All right. And then the Marcus McGee versus JP Baez.
I like Marcus McGee. That dude came into the UFC on a last second chance to get a fight, just beat the piss out of his opponent, won that fight, came back in this one. And JP Baez he's a good fighter. He's a tough dude. Mm-hmm. Training out of Vegas now, basically. He's from South Africa, but training out of Vegas, and he's at Extreme Couture. And guy can wrestle, guy can fight, man. But Marcus McGee, very calm, very, he's tight with his defense. When he wants to, go after you, he at least, takes his head off the center line. Very just basics, but done well. Doesn't take, the huge chance, but when he explodes, man, he comes with power, because we're talking flyweights, dude.
Yeah.
And it was at bantamweight, but I think JP Baez was normally a flyweight. He was a flyweight at one time, but he's got power, man. I'll tell you what, the shot that he put Baez down with, Baez was coming in, and I think it was Cormier said it was kind of Pacquiao versus Marquez style, and it was. You got that forward momentum creates a whole lot of torque on someone coming towards you. You remember when freaking Demetrius Johnson fought Benavidez the second time? Mm-hmm. And I did that one, and Benavidez comes at him hard, and DJ launches her and just obliterates him with it. And you go, that's what coming forward and getting caught with a good shot's going to do, man. You're just intensifying that, and that's what happened in this one. And it was a easy stoppage. That it should have been stopped. JP was seriously hurt. He got himself up, but he was falling into the fence. And
yeah,
big win for McGee. He's making his little mark in the UFC. 2 wins in a row.
Terrence McKinney,
man, Terrence McKinney. I know. The last fight, we talked about it was the rattlesnake grabbing of the fence. Yeah. But Terrence McKinney came out and said, "We're not going to have any of that." He's so athletic. Josh,
yeah,
it's actually sickening. Yeah, it really pisses me off, because God didn't do that for me.
No,
not to that sense. You look and you go, this kid could be so good, and I'm not saying he's not gonna be. I'm not saying he's not doing the right things. When you watch someone who's that fast, he's fast. God damn, it's good. It's so nice to see someone that can use speed the way he can, and he never even, everyone talks he's a first round fighter. Well, in this one, he's a first round fighter, because he was all over Breeden. Breeden didn't have a chance. Breeden got hit with a body shot, and I thought he did a good job of covering it up, trying to hide that he was hurt. You could see he was hurt because he's all of a sudden he's surveying the edge of the cage as he's traveling around because you can tell he's hurt from that. He's trying to get air, and McKinney was like, "Yep, I got you," and he was just all over him and just beat him down until the referee stopped it. Great performance by Terrence McKinney. I mean,
Terrence is someone like I wouldn't say he's just a first round fighter. It just seems to be going that direction because
but he's definitely like you got. We call it MO, modus operandi. And if you're a coach, you're gonna say, dude, and you're gonna have to fight him. You're gonna go, we just got to get through the first round.
Yeah,
we got to get through the first round.
Yep.
This is what I want to do. I want to put pressure. I want to make him work. Don't worry about winning the round. It's just the truth. And he's going to have to overcome that, and we've seen a lot of guys, same thing, have to do those things, and he can do it.
Yeah. I mean, he's just I know he's got such a bright future. I think he's like 23, 24 years old. He's very young. I mean, super marketable. I mean, he's got a good look to him. I mean, I feel like he's 28.
28.
Jeez. But like he's still young. But he hasn't hit his prime.
Not even in his
I would
prime,
say this is the beginning of his prime. Like 26 to 34 is kind of your prime. Some come a little bit later in the prime, which is around 28 to 29. And they get into 34, 35, 36 kind of. But yeah. I mean, he's got it. He's got the tools. I mean, hopefully he can just figure out that little issue he's having with the after the first round. And a lot of that has to do with how he expends his energy. In that first round.
But a lot of it's mental too.
A
lot of it's mental.
It is.
Because you can mentally, you're not. How many times you said you get done with that round, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
You were okay when you were fighting, but as soon as you stop and it's the end of the round and you're going to get this break, now it's like, oh, and you can mentally put yourself in a negative position, and he's just got to figure out a way to just shrug it off.
Frank Shamrock was the best at explaining it. He's like, you won't realize you're tired until you stop moving. He's like, and that's why I just never stopped moving. And he used to frustrate the shit out of me. It's true. He was like a little fucking worm flopping around, getting ready to put on.
Oh, he was, dude. He was like a flea.
Yeah,
that was what I said. He was just this annoying flea that if you rolled with him or anything, he just kind of just hovered. He was not heavy. Didn't do anything that you looked and you went, wow, that's pressure. Nope, he was a gnat. No. But he was good.
Any other fights on here you want to talk about?
Yeah, Isaac Dulgarian, man, he came in there, and I don't want to say bagging, but I guess I was bagging on like AJ Dobson, and you get to the ground. This is what you do when you get to the ground. Isaac Dulgarian against Francis Marshall. First off, he takes the fight to the ground because his wrestling is damn good, because Marshall saw the takedown attempt coming. He went to defend it, and he still couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Still got put on his butt, because Dulgarian can absolutely wrestle. The kid is a stud wrestler. And then on top of that, he's physically strong. And on top of that, he's got conditioning. And on top of that, he doesn't stop. He kept just advancing his ground and pound and putting shots on Marshall and not stopping. And when he got to the point where it was like, Marshall's starting to have problems, he just intensified the situation and just put a beat down. And you go, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's an output. That's what you want to do. That's how you make people realize, I'm not here just to, lay and pray. I am going to punch a hole in the middle of your head if I'm able to take you to the ground. Dulgarian looked fantastic.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of the Parisian fight and Boudet fight. I mean, Boudet was hitting him with some big shots against the fence, was getting him running around, and then my thing shut off. I was like,
it wasn't
so
much
weird,
more,
man.
because near getting probably close to the end of the round, when he took him to the ground, hits the fucking submission, and Josh Parisian just didn't have anything in that fight for Bidet. Bidet looks like a bidet. He's big and round, but the Duke can fight, man.
Yeah,
the Duke can fight. You can look, like you're slow and stuff. He's not slow. He's got speed in his hands. He's a guy you're gonna have to watch in the heavyweights.
You know, I talked to you a little bit last week about Jackie Amarin, and she's lived in my house. You know, her and her ex-husband. You know, and train. And they used to teach some of the kids and some of the adults at my gyms when I was in fight camps. Good. You know, she's very talented, very explosive.
Oh, you can see that in the fight.
She's got to work though on her stand-up. She's got to get better at her ground and pound. I mean, John, you were saying
there we go again.
This stuff is just it doesn't look, it's not doing anything, and the refs are thinking, I'm not stopping the fight. I'm not stopping the fight from these little tiny shots.
You know, so, I'm gonna give you a for instance here, and this is exactly what it is, and it's not nice to say, and I'm trying to remember who the fight was against. It was this Brazilian girl, but it was Roxanne Modafferi. And I love Roxanne. She's a sweetheart. But I'm reffing her fight, and she ends up taking her opponent down multiple times, and she's getting beat in the stand up. But she takes her opponent down. I'm trying. I'll look at keep on going down. Mason Barber, no, keep going. Might even been before the stop. Real quick. Stop. There it is. Mariana Moraes right there, that win. She's fighting Mariana Moraes. It's Invicta, and she's taking this girl down, and she's mauling her as far as positioning. She gets to mount all the time, and she starts trying to ground and pound. And Josh, I swear to God, I'm going, that's not going to crack an egg. Okay, and it was, and she's doing this, right, and I'm like, I'm not going to stop you. You're not hurting her. You're not damaging her, right? And so the first round goes, and it stops, right? I'm like, all right. John Wood comes in. He's her coach at the time. He's there, and I think also Tom Lawler was in her corner, right? And I go over and I said, hey, got to do some damage. She wants him to stop it, right? And go away. Second round happens, same thing. She takes this girl down, and she gets on her. She's doing this, thing, and the girl from underneath is throwing back, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I let it go. She had to have her on the ground for at least 4.5 minutes, right? I let it go the entire time, right? Jeez. And round end, she gets up. The other girl just pops up, and here comes John Wood and Tom Lawler, and I go, John, she's got to freaking put some power on these shots for me to stop this fight. John Wood looks at me and goes, John, she's giving it all the power she has. I go, good point, right?
Oh, jeez.
And so she eventually switched to elbows in the third, and I stopped. But I mean,
so
it's like,
funny.
it was like, God damn. It was just, and I mean, it went far into the third round too. It was just as a ref, I'm sitting there saying, I can't stop it. She's not hurt. It's like a grappling match. But
wow.
Yeah, the best line, John, she's giving it everything she's got. Okay, good point.
All right. That's gonna wrap up our UFC talk, and we're gonna jump into Bellator. And before we do that, though, go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in, onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Subscribe to us over there. I posted up some new videos from John and I in Japan, to some other content as well that we've experienced over the last couple of weeks. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Also was on there and was able to chat with Chris Cyborg a little bit. She's killing it over there, doing a great job. So there's other fighters that are on there. Luke Rockhold's on there. And who else? AJ McKee, who someone just signed. Who just signed?
No. They signed Anthony Pettis.
Anthony Pettis is, he's setting up. And then Cain Velasquez doing an appearance at Anthony Pettis' next event for his fighting. Nice. And yeah, so Cain's going to be heading out there. If you guys want to get a chance to meet Cain Velasquez, he'll be out there at Anthony Pettis' event for his.
I want you to know, I did offer you up. Okay. There was someone that tweeted me this thing about you guys are pushing fighters like pimps, man. OnlyFans. I'm like, no, completely different. I said, but I will offer up the Punk,
of course,
because he's a sexy beast. Because you're a sexy beast, dude. I'll do it.
Bring the checkbook. Just bring the checkbook. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Bellator. John, there's not going to be a lot to talk about.
No, there's not. We're not going to do a lot of talking because I was not impressed with your performance. But
Okay, now give me this since you watched the majority, almost all the whole card or the whole card.
No, I watched the whole card.
No, the UFC, the UFC. Give
Yes.
me a rating, 1 to 10
On the
Would you rate
UFC card?
Yeah.
You know, the first, okay, and it's tough because the first half of the UFC was a lot of finishes, similar to Bellator start off finishes. And then you look and you go, well, that makes it, that's a good card. That's, and then it ended. It just ended. And that's where it's like, okay, it's starting to not become a good card. If I was going to say 1 to 10 on the UFC card, no more than a 5.
Oh, okay.
And if I was going to give the Bellator card,
Yeah, give me the Bellator card now before we talk about it.
4.
Yeah, I was thinking around a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking around a 3. Yeah, just especially with the level of fighters that are on there that just didn't perform.
Yep.
That's the thing. Like knowing how good they are, knowing what they're, knowing what they can
Capable
do,
of. Yep.
capable of, just didn't perform.
Yep.
Didn't perform.
But I can't say that against. Can't say it. Logan Storley, the main event, he came out and did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
He looked great. Brett, and I'm gonna put it out there. Look, I knew going into this fight that Brennan Ward was injured. I knew he was injured. We talked about it, and he had some good injuries. But he didn't make any excuses. He went out there and he used the arm that he had that was injured, that left hand. He was using it. He was using it big time. But he had a partially torn bicep and a labrum tear. He got hurt in training, so he went in there and he gave it everything he had. And he didn't want it to stop and stuff, but Logan was starting to put it on him, and he couldn't push off of that arm. And so Jason Herzog knew that too. So when people sit there and go, that was an early stoppage, yeah, the referee knew that he was in a position where he was. It's kind of like when TJ Dillashaw is fighting Aljamain Sterling. When you're looking, the guy's shoulders out, or Aaron Pico is fighting Jeremy Kennedy, and they're trying to fight. As long as they're fighting, you're letting it go. But when they get into trouble, you're going to stop it quicker.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I look at it like you should have been fighting, but I understand it was a big opportunity for him.
Yeah,
with this win, he would have been fighting for the title next.
Yep.
And Logan did what Logan's supposed to do. Logan's supposed to go out there, get the takedown, control the top position, do some work, and he did. He did all those things. He got to mount, controlled that top, did some work. Nothing against Brendan. I love watching him fight, man. But he
looked
fucking solid when he stepped on that scale. I was like, holy shit.
Oh, dude.
He was shredded.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, you got to explain this shit to me, okay? Because I've known too many guys, you being kind of one, now you're not, but that's okay. But guys that really took care of themselves. Mm-hmm. Guys that really, just do everything right, nutrition and everything, and, look good. And you can look at, and this is no disrespect to Brennan, because, everyone knows his story and he'll tell you his story. Mm-hmm. He abused his body in ways that he's lucky to be alive. And that dude is built out of concrete. Yeah. He is amazing how freaking just solid he is. You hit him, hey, what's up? Boom. It's like hitting Dan, dunk. It makes a sound that no one else makes that sound. And you go, God damn. You are just put together with a material that most of us are not.
Yeah.
And that's why he survived everything that he survived with his addiction for a while. So
certain guys, man, like Dan Henderson, if you ever shake his hand, same thing with him. You shake their hands, it's like leather hands. They're like, they have this crust around them. It's like
crust and a squeeze.
Yeah. And both of them are extremely nice guys, fun to be around. I don't know. It's something about him. I'm surprised he's able to keep all that muscle on.
Yeah.
And maintain that type of muscle with going through what he went through, but it's the whole build back better, try and be better, try and build back better. And let's not forget, he does manual labor. He was doing manual labor for a long time.
An iron worker.
So he's slinging iron. So he's not just slinging dick, he's slinging iron. So he's out there getting it going. So, whatever he's doing physically, he looks good. shit, it sucks when you have an injury going into a fight and you know there's just certain things you can't do. But, you obviously for him, I mean, apparently he, from what I understand, right, he wasn't working during this time. He was able to focus on the whole camp.
I'm being honest, and he said it. I talked to his coach, Greg, and then Greg said, John, he was in fantastic shape. He goes, but he did not train he didn't train as a fighter. He couldn't hit mitts. He couldn't throw his hands. He goes, there's nothing that we could really do. But he goes, and Brendan said, he goes, I'm in the best goddamn shape. He goes, I can go forever. He says, you guys, he goes, I know you think I'm going to get tired. I'm not going to get tired. I can go. And he says, and that's what I want to do is I want to push and I want to get him tired and then I'm going to take over.
Yeah.
And, he had his game plan and stuff, but he wasn't able to train the way he wanted to train. And he was not able to train wrestling at all, which you look and you go, oh, that's shit. The whole thing. Hello.
Yeah.
And if you're not training it, it's so hard against someone like Logan.
Yeah.
He's
going to grind on you. He's going to transition. He's going to, chain techniques together.
Yeah, chain techniques together and just catch you. All of a sudden you're one step, now you're two steps, now you're three steps behind, and you're going down. So
good for Logan, though. Logan needed that win, and back on track. Next fight.
Yep. Valentin Moldavsky in a semi-rematch against Steve Mowry. They had a first meeting that ended probably a minute into the fight off of an eye poke. Mowry got eye poked. He wasn't able to continue. I don't blame him for that one. And so you looked at this one, and this was the one for both of them to prove something. Neither one of them proved anything. Mowry proved, well, I'm going to say Mowry knows that he should have fought that in a different fashion, I think. Moldavsky should have actually fought it in a different fashion. And when I say different fashion, here comes the ground and pound again. I've seen you have good ground and pound. You've got to, when you've got someone that's good off their back and can create some problems, you've got to intensify what you are doing to them in the ground on those positions. So then they don't want to go towards trying to look towards the sweep and stuff. They're more towards, I can't do those things. Now you've taken away their ability to turn you. Now it's a matter of breaking through the defense. Moldavsky won the fight, no doubt about it. Mowry needs to go, that was Mowry's first loss. And he needs to, just look at it, learn from it. It sucks, but, you didn't get beat up. You just got things that need to change for you to be the guy that is being in control of the fight.
The next fight surprised me because I expected a lot of Dalton Rasta, and but look, talked to him a little bit through Twitter or Instagram and stuff, and he's like, I have no one else to blame but myself. If game plan was going on track for the first round, second and third round, decided to throw it all out the window, shooting shitty shots. And he's extremely talented. He was undefeated up until this night. But Aaron Jeffrey, man, you can't take anything away from him. He finds ways to win. I know he lost his fight before that, but man, he finds ways to win, especially against good wrestlers. He's like, nah, I got this. I can take it. Like he knows he can get up. He knows he can stuff takedowns. He knows he's got just a stand up there with the knees and the elbows and the pressure, all those things. He just finds ways to get in your face. And next thing you know, you're looking up at the guy going, how did I lose to this guy with a fucking mustache and mullet?
And a mullet.
How the fuck is this guy beating me right now?
Yep.
And Dalton Rasta just looked so frustrated, fatigued also. In that second, at the end of the second, into that third round, he looked exhausted.
End of the second, he was exhausted.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that we've seen him in that type of. I talked to Dalton after this thing and all. And Josh, when we talked about this fight, what did we say? I said it's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah.
Based upon, look, it all depends on who fights this at the range that they should. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Jeffries has, every fighter's got certain things that they do really well. And things that they don't. They've got to work on. But, and you think that I can handle anybody in this particular situation. Aaron Jeffries in his last fight when he fought John Salter, before the fight, talked about, look, I train with the best wrestlers. I'm not worried. I get up from everyone. And then he faced John Salter and all of a sudden he couldn't get up.
Yeah.
And it was like, and it comes down to my statement that I always say, you don't know what you don't know until all of a sudden now you know. Mm-hmm. And he faced that guy that, okay, I have to improve. And when you look at him in the clinch, he's Randy Couture. I know, yes, he comes from Canada. I know he's got hair, but in the clinch,
he's got all of his teeth.
He's fucking good.
Yeah.
He understands the clinch. He creates problems for you in the clinch. He does a lot of damage to you in the clinch, and he wears you out, similar to what Randy Couture would do. And, you know, and I can tell you, man, you know, I trained with Randy, and that dude wore my ass out when we would get to a clinch. If we got on the ground, I was okay. In a clinch, I would be exhausted, standing up. I just want to fall to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, because he just has this way of making you work much harder than he's working. Aaron Jeffries he's that guy. He can do that. And I knew if they got into these wrestling situations, I'm like, Dalton can wrestle, but that's not he needs to use his stand up in his hands, similar to what he did with Romero Cotton, you know, and he got away from it after the first round, you know, even in the first round. And it was his downfall. He was the one that was initiating the wrestling for the most part. Now, Aaron was going, okay, let's do this. This is good for me. I like this. And he continued to make the mistakes. And Mike Brown in his corner was telling him, stop wrestling.
No.
And if you're not going to listen to your corner, what are they good for?
Yeah.
Man, you've got to listen to those guys, you know, and I'm not saying anything. I didn't talk to Dalton, you know, I talked with him, and, you know, and he's crushed because it's his first loss. And I told him, hey, it's no big deal. It happens to everyone. You know, you just got to learn from it and move on and better yourself. So you say, here's where I made the mistakes, and this is how I'm going to fix them. Yeah. But it was a big win for Aaron Jeffries, and it proves Aaron Jeffries, he's in that position. Look, you know, you got the Fabian Edwards versus Johnny Eblen fight coming up, but Aaron Jeffries putting himself in a position to possibly get that title fight.
Yeah, because Dalton Ross is number what?
He was number 4.
Number 4, right? So he just beat Dalton Ross, and he had beat Austin Vanderford before that, who was Dalton Ross's teammate. So the two of them, he's got
ATT's number, man.
Yeah, and Salter is retired. So John Salter walked away. He's retired, and so now you've got Aaron Jeffries. He'll probably be up there at number 4. I mean, him and Anatoly Tokov would be a fun fight, or him and Gegard. You know, if you're looking for who might fight Aaron Jeffries next. He's got a win over Rasta and a win over Austin Vanderford, so I don't understand how he's ranked behind those two. But I'm sure they'll make the adjustment hopefully by Monday. We'll see, though. The media here that does the rankings here never surprises me. Surprises me. All right, the next two fights, though, were a lot of grappling. So you've got James Gallagher and Sidney Outlaw, the two of them fantastic grapplers. But go ahead, John. What's your take on both these fights?
You know, I thought James Gonzalez did not fight a smart fight in the first couple rounds. Finally, in the third round, he got his act together, and you could see exactly what he could do, but it was too late. Judges ended up giving a split decision win. You got to give it to Gallagher. That's his first fight back in like 2 years. That's not an easy thing. He did fight a tough guy. Gonzalez, the Alley Cat, is a tough kid. I really enjoy watching him fight, but he did not fight smart for the first 2 rounds. Gallagher did. You know, Gallagher went to what, you know.
Where's Gallagher training at now?
He was in Thailand. You know, for the most part, he was in Thailand, and he said, I was working on my wrestling in Thailand. He goes, there's so many great wrestlers in Thailand now. Yeah, well, you got all these international Russians. Yeah. And they do. They got a ton, so, you know.
I'm surprised he didn't go back to training at SBG. And Ireland. Yeah. Interesting. And then, you know,
Kiefer Crosby was in his corner.
Oh, okay. Kiefer. So.
I love him.
He's fucking hilarious.
Big Daddy is hysterical.
Big Daddy. And then Sidney Outlaw and Mamedov.
You know, you know Mamedov, and you were the one that said Johnny doesn't do really good when a guy can, you know, scramble. He doesn't scramble well. And you're right, man. I'll tell you what. You know, I went, you know, looking at all the fights, you know, before the fight and watching him. You know, I was watching him against guys that are good on the ground, but don't scramble. They'll accept being on their back. And the very first moments of the fight, Sidney Outlaw lands one punch, a jab down the middle that kind of puts him back on his feet, and it bloodies his nose. Now, it didn't break his nose, Josh, but he was absolutely affected by that. That one shot, and you can see it because when a guy starts doing, you know, touching, and he's doing it into the next round, it's telling you that it affected him way more than it ever should have. So there's something, either it's broken or he's letting it affect him in a way. But he got out wrestled. Yeah. Sidney Outlaw would, take him down. And even when Mamedov was able to kind of, try to work himself to a good position, Outlaw kept scrambling and ended up in the top position on him.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing with Mamedov, and I trained a lot with Mamedov. He was actually one of the first Russians outside of Khabib that I trained with. And then Islam Makhachev came a little bit later, or we just didn't train as much. But Mamedov and I trained quite a bit in the beginning when he first came. And I just noticed, like, for me, I was one of those guys that I was always told myself, the Frank Shamrock mentality, never stop when you're on bottom. Don't stop moving, get back to your feet. If you go back and watch Frank when he fought Tito, always making him work, always making him work. That's one of the things that I took away from Frank and Crazy Bob when I was training with them all the time. So anytime you got with the Russians, you had to make sure that you just never stopped. If you settled in on bottom, there's no way you're getting up. Never let yourself settle. And I saw that in Sidney. Sidney's not someone who settles on the bottom when you watch the Adam Piccolotti fight. Yep. And I've seen him train with Adam Piccolotti as well. And Adam's a guy that doesn't settle on bottom. Always trying to hit a switch, always trying to hit a Granby, always trying to figure out how to come underneath. And those are the kind of guys that from watching, that would give Mamedov problems. So when this fight was put together, I was like, damn. When you look at Brett Primus doesn't scramble. He goes right to his guard. He goes right to the rubber guard. Right,
because he's comfortable with
attack, and he's comfortable being off of his back. But had he created some scrambles, I think he would have had a good chance of getting to the top position and being on and maybe potentially winning the fight. But Mamedov, man, great wrestler, good on top. Doesn't like to be hit. It was bothering him with the nose. He was having some problems with it. I don't know what it is, but it's a mental barrier with him because he is so talented, so good. He could be so good. He could take it to the next level. He is really good. He hadn't lost in 14 or 15 years until he had lost to Benson? To Benson. And then, then he comes back and now he loses to Outlaw. It's just one of those, he's got to get through this mental thing. He's got to believe in himself, and no one can do that but him, because I know that he is extremely talented. He's just got to do it. Yeah. What other fights on here you want to talk about, John?
Go
ahead.
You got Blockus. We'll talk about Blockus real quick in a half second. This kid's talented, comes from Minnesota in the wrestling program. He wasn't up against anybody that was within his caliber, so you got a real quick first round. He was actually a post-limb fight, but the people stuck around to watch him, so that was good. I don't even want to talk about Justine Kish fought well. Yeah. Diana of Saragova.
John, I was watching that fight going, what in the fuck are you doing?
Oh, no, thank you.
I was just, you can wrestle, you can grapple, you've got good hands, you got heavy power, you're not throwing or you're wrestling. I don't know what happened, man.
Even when Kish would almost initiate a grappling situation, Saragova would push out of it. It's like, you think you're that good on your feet? Go away.
Yeah.
Sorry, go away. No.
Barzola and Bates.
Well, I thought it was a good fight, and I thought Jalen Bates. I thought going in that Barzola was too experienced for Jalen Bates. I think Jalen is super talented, and I talked with his coach, who I love, Antonio McKee, and McKee is like, no, this is a good fight for him. He needs to have this kind of fight. And I think that Antonio was saying that knowing that, he could lose this fight, but he needs this. He needs to go against someone that will not quit, will not just give in, will not just stop, based upon, oh, you're talented and you're good. I'm just going to keep grinding you. And that's how Barzola wins.
Yeah.
And that's why Barzola won, because you could hear Antonio McKee in the corner. Hey, you're in a fight. You got to fight. Stop. You got to, because the best thing about Antonio McKee is he's as real as it gets, especially in the corner. And he's said some of the funniest shit I've ever heard out of a corner man at times. But he was real. He's telling him, hey, you better go kick his ass. You're behind in this fight, and it's your fault. It's like nothing but tough love from Antonio McKee.
What's the next fight, Dave? Yeah, it just
Nothing.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Dave is just all over the
Yeah.
place. Don't know even what he's doing right now. You got to give you see, and I'm being honest. I'm watching certain fighters in Bellator and going, they need to get rid of you because you just don't go after the fight.
Yeah.
You try to win, but it's okay if I just win by this much. No, I want people that are killers going after it. People that want to, fight a great fight. Leandro Higo, against Mikhailov. Hey, he fights. I'll give it to him. Vladimir Tokov had a tough fight against Pacheco. That kid is super big for the weight class. You talk about a huge lightweight and put together, no fat on him, and has talent. But, tough win for Tokov, but it was because, at least he kept going after him and kept trying to do stuff. Alfie Davis fought a really smart and one of the better fights I've ever seen Alfie Davis fight against Elon Cruz. And, you'd look and you go, he's getting better. And so,
but John, he's also one of those fighters though that I feel like you got to keep an eye on because he's got to start pushing through, looking to get the finish.
Yeah,
a lot of this target practice, like he's Michael Venom Page, they fight very similar. He's a point fighter, but Michael Venom Page tries to put you away.
Yes.
Whereas Alfie Davis, he just tries to touch you. Even when he lands a good shot, he's hesitant to jump in and try and put you away. Sorry, man. If you got this type of ability, we need to see finishes out of you. I can't just keep having you ink them by.
What you need to do is watch this guy named Marceli Alves da Silva, known as Doreen, him against Gerald Hodge. That was a fight, dude. That son of a bitch. You talk about biting down on a mouthpiece and just slinging leather. That's what you're looking for. And Sullivan Colley, he looked good. He coming back off a tough loss. A little bit of confidence was shattered with that loss. Now coming back and getting the win the way he did, first round again against Salim. That was a nice win for him. And Jordan Oliver, the
man of the night, man. The man of the night. Dude. There's been more press, more talk, more everything about him. I mean, he looked fantastic. Did exactly what he was supposed to do. Didn't waste any time. He did what he was supposed to do. You can't be more impressed by a first-time fighter. No,
and the fact is, Morrow says, what do you want to see out of him? I want to see him stand up. And I mean that when I say it because I want to see him. I want to see how much confidence he has in his stand. Is he going to engage in the stand-up first? Or is he just going to start shooting for the takedown? And I understand why he's shooting for the takedown, but I've got to see that you can take a shot. I got to see that it's not going to affect you. I got to see that you can throw your hands and land shots and say, hey, okay. And how are you going to reset? He did all those things. He did a great job standing on his feet for a short time, landed heavy. He took one shot, stepped back, threw a combo, and then right into the takedown and just dominated. And that's what he was supposed to do.
John, he was literally like 6 months ago, not at Kill Cliff, not training. He was, in the Olympic room, just basically getting his wrestling on. At the Olympic Training Center. He was just training wrestling only. He had been training on the side here and there in jiu-jitsu. It lets you know, look, he understands what positions wrestlers should be good at. They should be good at the side choke. They should be good at kimuras. They should be good at getting on the neck, whether it's a guillotine or whatever it is, pressing you to the fence. He understands what positions he needs to finish the fight and get him out of there. Now, I agree. He does need to work on his stand-up, get a little more comfortable there. But can we ease him in a little, John, before we ask this of him? Come on.
Yes.
John wants it right now. John McCarthy wants to see you have he's good on the feet. No, then we're going to lose him. We'll never see him wrestle again once he realizes he's got knockout power. Okay, that's what's going to happen.
That's true. That's true.
So I'd like to see him, next fight, a little bit on the feet, but, a lot more of what he was able to accomplish in this fight. And then his third fight, but depends on the opponent, but don't forget where you came from. Utilize what you have. Look, he doesn't have a lot of time. I think he's 33, 32.
33. He's 33 years old, same as when Randy Couture had his first fight.
So I look at that. I'm like, look, if he can shape his game plans the right way and get comfortable on the feet and stay in the clinch and understand that, look, the fences becomes a problem sometimes instead of help. So he's going to have to keep utilizing his wrestling out in the open mat because that's what these wrestlers have forgotten. The older wrestlers that have come into the sport, they press them to the fence and think they're going to get the easy takedown, when in reality, the way for them to get the easy takedown is out in the open mat. And all this new generations of fighters, they rely on the fence to get up. They haven't learned how to get up out in the open mat. The days of using hook sweeps, elevator sweeps, coming underneath, getting the back that way, they've all forgot about it because they rely on the fence so much to get up. So this type of wrestler, like a Jordan Oliver, just get the takedowns in the open mat, control the top position, work for your side chokes, work for your back, work for the submission, kimuras, all those things. I think you're gonna see a new level of guys that can wrestle in the sport if they can start working on getting these guys out and taking down in the open mat. So I'm looking forward to him, man. He got a lot of press, a lot of coverage, the way he looked. I mean, he really kind of saved. He's a fantastic guy. Fantastic. By the way, he's been asking to come on the show. He asked if he could come on. I'm like, absolutely. I just didn't want it to be a distraction. I don't like to reach out to these guys, like 4 or 5 weeks before their fight, or 3 or 4, 2 weeks or a week of the fight. I hate that's why I consider us not media. I don't want to be bugging them right before their fight, knowing this is a big deal to him. Glad he got the win. Looking forward to having him on. And man, there's a lot of exciting things for him to come. We're going to see him. He's going to try to stay as active as he possibly can because he understands this is a short period of time.
Got to be fast tracked.
Yeah, he's got to be fast tracked. So good for him, man. Good for him. He saved Bellator in terms of he got the most media coverage. He pushed Bellator the most, and it was a great addition to the Bellator crew. Happy for him, man. Good for him.
Yep.
All right.
That's it for that.
That's it for that. What do you want to talk some boxing? Tell me how it went, or do you want to just jump into something else?
I did not see the Anthony Joshua versus Helenas fight. I saw the Rodriguez fight that was on Showtime on Saturday night and stuff.
Got it.
Watch that card and stuff.
What'd you think?
I'll tell you what, Lopez, in my opinion, did not have anything for him. Mm-hmm. He started off, pretty well, but Rodriguez just really took over the fight from the second round on. He was just beautifully putting shots on Lopez, and you could see Lopez just starting to wilt. Just his positioning, the body positioning in the ring, and what he was doing, and Rodriguez just landing beautiful shots overall. He almost had him out in the 12th round. Hit him with a beautiful body shot, put him down, came back, put him down 3 times in the 12th round. And fight it didn't matter, whether they had stopped it or not. The referee should have known that Rodriguez was way ahead on that fight card. But nice win, coming back, getting the championship again because he was champion when he was younger, and that was just a well executed, and he got a headbutt, and they tried to say it was a punch. His eye got bumped out off of a headbutt, but at least it never really was a factor in the fight.
Yeah. Even
though you thought it could have affected his sight, but he really just put on a beautiful performance.
Good for him, man. Good for him. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch any of the boxing, but Dave, is there any news? You got your 1 or 2 news cycles for us?
Yep. Bellator 300 got 4 title fights. I wanted to get your early thoughts here.
Look, UFC has tried to do 3 title fights in one night, and 3 times out of the 4 times they've done it, they've all sucked. And then we decided to one up them and do 4. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
Maybe 3 is a bad number and 4 is the right number for this.
It's weird because I always thought 3, like the 3rd time's a charm kind of thing, but 3 fights, 3 could be a charm, but we'll see, man. 4 fights. I mean, you could, if they all go the distance. Look, I'm looking at this card now. I think Lynn Vassell and Bader doesn't go the distance. I think Primus and I think no, it doesn't go the distance. I think Primus and
Usman does not go
the distance. I think Kat Zingano and Cyborg doesn't go the distance.
Does not go the distance.
But it potentially could. But I give it potential. I don't think it will though. Okay. And then Liz and Ali Malay, they're just friends. So
that's the problem.
I could see it going the distance.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I look at that fight and like nothing. I love both ladies. They're both just incredible. They're friends, and I know they're friends, and they don't.
Yep. Someone lands a good shot, they're gonna touch gloves and be like, "Yeah, great shot." And then you got close to submission. They're gonna be talking, "No, that was close," and then like it's gonna end up being one of those fights, I think, because they are very close.
Liz is someone at this point where she got a little bit, of I'll hurt you, you'll make me mad, and I'm going to go after you. She's not going to get mad at Ali Malay. and it's like the Deanna Bennett. She was getting beat, and finally gets the arm triangle, gets up and like she was angry. Why? I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna see that. I'm not gonna see that Liz Carmouche.
No.
So.
Well, looking forward to Bellator 300. Everyone's talking that may be the last Bellator. We'll find out, I guess. But look, everyone that's talking, I want to make sure you guys, because John and I have been part of this for the longest time. No one knows. Nobody.
If I knew, I would tell people. And I've had more people. And there's things that you can look at. Dave, I don't know if you can come up with it, but if you can come up, look at the Bellator 300 thing that they put out. That's like a shield, a banner thing. Have you seen that? It's gold, and it says Bellator 300, Bellator MMA on top or something like that. I could send it to you. I'm sending you that, and I'm going to send you another one with it. Okay, and then another one with it. Where's that one? Okay. Sorry, Dave.
Is it this thing right here?
Yeah, that thing right there.
Yeah, that thing right there. That's one of them.
Okay.
So
what's so big about this thing?
Well, hold on. You tell me.
Pull up the PFL logo.
Yeah, baby. There you go. Because that's what I'm sending you, Dave. Here it is. So you got all three of these. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go to that one. That's fine. Go to the one that says PFL MMA. So when you take a look, now have you ever seen Bellator have anything that looked like a shield?
No,
because that's a shield. That's what we call that.
Yeah.
Right? You see the B with their thing. That's been their thing. Or they have that in the early days. They had the gladiator, because Bellator means warrior in Latin or something like that. And you saw that stuff, but you never saw them with this shield. And so it's different. Did you get did it go through there, Dave, to you?
No.
Yeah, they're all just. I'm sending them all over to my laptop.
Okay, and so now you take a look at the PFL's logo.
Yeah.
Tell me now. I'm not saying anything, but come on. When you are the one in charge of something, here, there you go. Look at that, and then take a look at Bellator 300.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Oh, it's amazing.
We're gonna find out. But here,
and then hold on. And what was the next thing that was put out? The next thing that was put out was a picture of the title fight between Chris Cyborg and Kat Zingano. Great fight. I kind of like it. And it has what at the bottom of it?
Let's see. It's loading right now. There you go.
It ends here.
Oh, wow.
Really? There's your little banner. It ends here. And it's like, well, you're freaking telling people something. You're not telling us.
Like I said,
I'm just going to say, you're saying something.
Yeah, nobody knows. Let's be honest. And even if I did know, I wouldn't tell you, because I'm not media, so I'm not breaking shit. Like, even if I didn't know.
I don't know. I would tell you. I would tell you. This is what's happening.
I wouldn't tell you.
I would.
No, it's just one of those things, man. It's like the people that know it's not going to be. It's going to be like Coker. And look, when the Strikeforce deal thing was going through, Coker didn't tell anyone either. So it was. He made sure he kept.
That
it
was
quiet.
different, though.
Yeah, I get it. It was different.
Let's see. And here's the difference. Coker is the president of Bellator, but he works for Viacom. True.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
He's not in control of what they do with their product.
No.
As far as that, he's their, he runs Bellator and he puts out a great product with what he does as the president and the promoter. But with Strikeforce was his.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did not want to sell Strikeforce. He was looking with the people that had been investors with him wanted money back and stuff, and he got kind of put into a spot. So that one I can understand him not. This one, I don't think, he's not in control of it.
Yeah. There's nothing to say. Yep. I mean, but the shit part is, man, two promotions, two have top level fighters. You've got Usman Nurmagomedov. You've got Amosov, you've got all these guys that are really, really good, and to have two promotions, whether it was Strikeforce and Bellator now, you've got the best guys in the top 3 or 4 of every weight class has top level guys. Patchy Mix, these guys are good. Pettis, got Horiguchi at 125. You've got the best guys, and Johnny Eblin at 185. You got the best guys. And so, it's interesting. It's for him, he's got to be thinking, I built this roster. It's finally where I want it to be, and now it's going to be gone again. And the same thing with the Strikeforce roster.
Yep.
He built the roster. You've had champions in every organization, and he built that roster, and now it's going to be gone. If it does go away, it'd be interesting because he's got such a connection with all these fighters. Think about Gegard Mousasi, Phil Davis, myself. We all left and went back to Coker because we understood the what we'd get paid. We also understood the kind of respect we'd get from him. So who knows, man? I don't know. It's interesting to see what will happen, and we're gonna figure it out as we all go. We're so long for the ride.
Well, he was on Jimmy Smith's show.
Was he?
And he basically said, we're just gonna keep doing fights, and that's Scott. That's who he is.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep. But it's you look and you go, you got. Yeah. I know it's like
it's
gotta
frustrating.
be frustrating to him.
It's gotta be frustrating. All right, guys, that's going to wrap us up on our UFC and Bellator talk and a little bit of the Bellator buyout, I guess, maybe. We'll see what happens. And there's a lot that
merger, buyout, I hear it all.
Yeah, I've heard it all. I've heard they're going to run it separately. Bellator's going to stay.
Be
PFL's going to
they're going to run
going to merge.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, everyone's heard everything. So we'll see
The
what
one
happens.
thing I will tell you is they ain't running 2.
You don't think so?
No.
Not interesting.
Okay, what's the only time you've ever seen one run 2?
UFC ran WEC, and they eventually merged together. Yeah, and the same thing with Strikeforce. They did it for a year, but they only did it for a year because Showtime. Yeah, the contracts with the Showtime.
They had a contract. They had to.
All right, guys. Hey, that's going to wrap us up. And go to WayneandMerch.com and check us out there. Check out some of our merch and pick that up. And I want to thank you guys for watching the show. And John, take us away.
For everyone out there, thanks for watching. We'll see you.